So I had a conversation a while back with a friend of mine, and we were talking about the differences between Sonic in the movies and Sonic in the video games. And while I don't really dislike either one of them, I don't really dislike either portrayal of Sonic because, again, I'll keep saying this till the day I die, but I will continue to consume everything Sonic related until the day I die, most likely, because even if it's not that great, even if it's not to my standards, you already fucking know. I'm gonna consume it. I'm gonna consume the Sonic slop, you know? I really wanted to talk about that in particular because, surprisingly enough, I haven't really heard anybody necessarily talk about a big key difference between the two. It's not like people haven't discussed at length about what makes movie Sonic and game Sonic so different, but one thing that I noticed in particular is mainly just the fact that there's a big difference between something or someone trying to be relatable and being inspirational. And what I mean by that is, when I think of video game Sonic, obviously there are things about him that one can relate to, but for me personally, growing up and getting into Sonic, he just felt like somebody that I truly aspired to be. Sonic himself, in the video games at the very least, he doesn't really see himself as a hero. He kind of just does what he has to do. He does what he thinks is right, and whether or not people might see him as a bad guy for that, sometimes he'll play that part. I believe it was Black Knight or Receivers? I can't remember, but it was like during that era. And there's that one particular quote where he talks about like, well, sometimes I don't mind having to play the bad guy, because he doesn't see himself as a hero. He just does what he thinks is right, and he's willing to give people the freedom to do that as well. Sonic is this super confident, cocky even character who knows that he's like really fucking fast. Like, this guy knows he's cool as shit, and even then he'll still choose to do what he thinks is right. He still chooses to live by his own way, his own methods, and whether or not people agree with it, that doesn't matter to him. Like, it's never about the satisfaction of being recognized for his good deeds. It's more just, you just do it. And I think a lot of people, especially myself, I really aspire to be someone like that, where I don't hesitate to do what's correct, what's right, and putting others before me. And even though you don't know what may come of it, you just follow through on it every time, no hesitation. And I've come to realize that now that I'm playing through Sonic Unleashed finally, it's just reminding me why I love Sonic, why I love video game Sonic, it's just Sonic in general. You have Sonic currently going through his own dilemma, and he befriends Chip, and Chip realizes that, yeah, I got my memories back, I know what I have to do now, and I gotta save everybody. And Chip feels that he has to do this by himself, but Sonic, again, no hesitation, steps up right to help him. And not even because, again, and it's not even because he wants to be known as his hero that he does it, because like, I can't wait to save the world and I can't wait to have all this glory, all this attention on me. No, he straight up just says, do I need a reason to want to help out a friend? And the thing is, that's something that everybody should live by. You don't need a reason to do the right thing. And I feel like Sonic really embodies that. You have the freedom to do what you want. You can live by your own way. You can have your own rules set for yourself. But it doesn't hurt, and it shouldn't hurt, to want to help those around you. And you might even know if it's the right decision, but knowing that you do it, that's enough. Knowing that you want to make that decision, that's enough. And now in comparison with movie Sonic, obviously, there are still bits of Sonic, the video game Sonic, in there, though in a weird way, it's almost like it's like flip-flopped in a way, because with video game Sonic, he already has all these pre-established personality traits. We don't really delve into him as a character or his backstory or any of that really for that matter. Whereas with the movies, Sonic is, this alien from space. He was brought to Earth and his adoptive mom died. And now he's just trying to blend in with the human world. And the thing is too, like, as many people pointed out at the end credits, right, for Sonic Movie 3, he's showing bits of that cocky, very confident, snarky attitude that we know of Sonic. But when you compare it to how he is in the beginning, like in the first and second movie, he does still have a bit of that snarkiness, but it just comes off as like a little kid trying to be cool and confident. Because with Sonic, trying to blend in with the human world, he learns about pop culture, he learns about video game characters, comic book characters, whatever, right? And he wants to be like those heroes. So it's almost like we're in his shoes. We're trying to be a hero in our own way, in our own current day-to-day life. But if you've watched the second movie, Tom basically was like, no, you can't just be doing what you necessarily think is right. Like, you have a power, you need to use it for the greater good. It's not about creating your own moment of being a hero. It'll come to you naturally, and you'll know what to do for the sake of helping everyone out. And initially, Sonic's intentions with trying to become a hero mainly just come out of, I guess you could say, cockiness, but more so narcissism in a way. Bro's like, yeah, I got these cool ass powers, and I want to be just like Batman. I want to be just like all these other comic book characters. I want to be Blue Justice. But again, that's like something like a kid would say. That's like us with Sonic. That was me with Sonic. I was like, damn, I really wish I was like Sonic. He is so cool, and all these million other things about him. And also, the thing is too that also helps is that really emphasizes that point for me is that with the movie Sonic, obviously when they were creating the movies, they 100% had to play it safe. They couldn't just do a complete one-for-one of the video games because one, not only would general audiences be like, what the fuck is this? And secondly, it's just, with Sonic fans, you can't fucking win. You could have done anything. And people would still be unhappy. Like, I'll say it here. I genuinely believe that if we got what we have now for the Sonic movie design, people would have fucking hated it. I'll be honest. But obviously, compared to what we initially got, then it's still good. But no, with Sonic in the movies, he's this very... Okay, Sonic has always been, in both iterations, in both medias, it's always been like the embodiment of like ADHD. But I feel like they emphasize that further with the movies, just given how bro can't sit still. Bro just jumps into action immediately without thinking it through. We see that in Sonic 3, and him having to learn how to depend on others is a very common thing as well. Like, a lot of people, including myself, struggle to depend on others, or in other more specific cases, it's harder to work in a team, and that's what he has to learn how to do in the third movie. And even again, with the whole storyline or the whole plot or the story beat of Sonic losing his adoptive mom and understanding the feelings of loss, kind of how he explains to Shadow in the third movie that, hey, obviously losing somebody, it's never gonna feel any better. It's still gonna, that pain is still gonna linger in your heart, but you have to carry that love and use it for good. You can't be using all that hatred to make decisions, because you're not only doing yourself a disservice, but you're not helping. It's not what your loved one would have wanted. Going back to the whole part about Sonic being the embodiment of ADHD, I did mention how in the movie it's especially emphasized. And the reason I say that as well is because, again, we know that Sonic can be witty and snarky in both the video games and the movies. But the big difference, and I feel like that some people either really like or they fucking hate, and it's mainly just the fact that in the movie, most of his humor is very Gen Z. It's very... Well, I don't even know if it was Gen Z. It's just super, like, oh my god, pop culture reference. Oh my god, The Rock. Oh my god, Keanu Reeves. And it's just, it's not everybody's cup of tea. And I get it, but I'll just say that movie Sonic is it's like the basically right in the to get my final point really across is that in the video games and in the movie Sonic is still pretty, you know, overly confident, cocky, whatnot. He can be witty at times, but I feel like with video game Sonic, his actions speak more than what he says. And that's not to say that what he says isn't important, because it is. His character is just way more action oriented, and in the brief moments where there is dialogue, it's not only raw as hell, it's so important to his character. It usually just highlights how heroic and loyal he is, especially when it comes to his friends, and he takes on threats with a sense of adventure, and he still has a strong sense of justice and freedom. That's what makes him him. That's what makes Sonic Sonic. Whereas with the movie, they still keep bits of that, but he's a lot goofier and naive even, and that makes him relatable. That's what makes him endearing to general audiences, the fact that he's somebody you can relate to, given how his sense of humor tends to align with a lot of kids these days, and his eagerness to make friends. And so obviously he's maintaining his confidence and speed, but movie Sonic shows a bit more of vulnerability, which makes him relatable to others. And it presents Sonic as somebody who's still learning about friendship and responsibility, which again, some people don't like, because that's kind of something we've been having to rehash. And I mentioned before in a previous video, but I just wish they would do something a little different. But you know what? I'll take it. It is what it is. I just wish that they would do something a little bit more than just having Sonic learn about the power of friendship and working in a team, because we've had it before. We had Sonic Heroes after all. But yeah, if we're being realistic, his character in the video games has been sort of all over the place. It's never been super consistent, if we want to put it that way. But I will say with the movies, he's definitely more fleshed out and consistent with how he's portrayed, because he has that mix of emotional depth, humor, and action. So he comes across as this quirky, fast-paced hero who's learning how to become a true hero and be rid of his loneliness, make friends, and on a personal growth journey. Or actually here, yeah, no, because again, like a major difference is that movie Sonic is essentially the quirky, you know, hero in a kid's movie, and that's fine, you know, nothing wrong with that. But it's like game Sonic just doesn't try to be cool. Like, he just knows he's fucking cool. And I think that, along with everything else that I mentioned, is a major reason why people just prefer video game Sonic. That being said, I do hope Sega continues to make more Sonic media. I wish they would bring back that same blue hedgehog that got me through some of the darkest points in my life and continues to be that inspiration to me and to many others. And I'm just hoping that people learn to live by their own way. And I just hope that people remember that it doesn't matter who you are, you can be a good person, and it doesn't take much to want to do the right thing, and know that you have the potential to be that kind of person, not even just for others, but for yourself. And that's why I ultimately believe that while movie Sonic is definitely a very relatable character, it doesn't outweigh or make me forget about that same blue hedgehog that was and always will be an inspiration to me for years to come.